I know it's horrible to say, but I don't think I'm gonna miss Dad. I don't think we ever had much of a relationship. It's no secret to say I didn't come out the way he wanted. A fully grown man, sitting around and playing Sonic the Hedgehog games and then talking about them for a majority of my day. No, that lifestyle was pretty pathetic in his eyes. He was more of a Mario guy. He wanted me to play Mario games every day and then talk about them to people, just like he did. The family business. The day I held a Genesis controller is the day I lost my father. Not today.
Hello there, Spiny.
Dr. Howard, what are you doing at my father's funeral?
To provide emotional support to my dear friend Spiny.
You don't come to my dad's fucking funeral, Dr. Howard. That's not even remotely acceptable.
I genuinely thought you might appreciate a friend. I'm not here to piss you off or anything.
We're not friends, we're rivals.
Well, yeah, but I thought we kind of had a Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus thing going here. You know, like, we're kind of enemies, but we're also kind of friends.
No, I do genuinely hate you.
But I thought you loved Howard Hamlin.
Yeah, I do. And you're not him. You're my own original creation. You're the anti-Howard. Do you really think the legendary Howard Hamlin would waste his time playing Sonic games? And even if he did, he'd have a cooler favorite entry than Colors, you fucking normie. Ah, now you got me talking about Sonic at my dad's funeral. You need to leave, Howard.
You already mentioned him during your little eulogy over there, and from the sounds of it, you did not care or respect for your father. So, why is me being here such an insult?
Look, I had my problems with the man. I wanted to vent, but that's about as far as I want to take it. I mean, there's people mourning here, for crying out loud.
But wouldn't it be fun to stick it to the man one last time? And ramble about a series that he hated to all of his guests?
No, Dr. Howard.
Oh, come on, Spiny. What's the last Sonic game you played?
Why, the original Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991, of course. It's by far the best game of the entire series because it's the one that started it all. Genuine opinion I used to read all the time on the internet. Take a look at this old Flash cartoon from an old Newgrounds animation.
And what are you supposed to be?
I'm Tails. Ow, what the hell, man?
Tails ruined the whole Sonic franchise.
Oh yes, Tails is really what killed the series. Yeah, Sonic 1 was the only good game of the entire franchise. For sure, Sonic 1 is a flawless masterpiece, while 2 is just unplayable. You have that little guy follow you around and no, fuck everything else about this.
You are bitching about opinions from 2006 right now.
Fair enough, let's just state what I actually think of the game. I mean, of course it gets a lot of props for being the first Sonic game, and I think it was a very successful first attempt, as in, it managed to get a lot of people interested in the series right off the bat, and only improved from there on, at least when talking about the original 4 games. 5 if you want to count and Knuckles as a separate game. Nowadays, people do seem to be in agreement that 1 is the worst of the classics, while 2, 3, and Knuckles are much better. CD is a little bit mixed, but the consensus is the others are pretty consistent. Do I agree? Yep. Nothing new or interesting to note from me. This is going to be a boring episode. Green Hill Zone, amazing level, probably is responsible for Sonic being as popular as he was. I wish they would stop recycling it, but it is what it is. I guess it's just kind of an expected part of the series now. Marble Zone, I like this one a lot too. Great music and a fair bump and challenge from the first level. I sometimes hear complaints about how this one fails to deliver the same speed as Green Hill Zone, and while I do think there's some truth to that, I think a lot of moments people are talking about are moments that you can actually speed through once you improve at the game. You don't actually have to sit on this moving platform in the lava, you can speed right through it with properly timed jumps. Which, yes, is harder, but if you want to play a game that never makes you earn the ability to go fast, try Forces Out, that might be more up your alley. Spring Yard Zone. Ew. Gross. Music is good in every level, this one's no exception, but everything else? Ew. Gross. It's not that hard of a level, you can get through it pretty quickly, but it feels like every single annoying mechanic in a Sonic game shoved into one single stage. It feels like the third level of 3D Blast saw the stage and decided to take it to the next level. It's also not a very nice level to look at. It feels like the placement of each object purely exists to be challenging and annoying, while I think Marble Zone managed to bring the difficulty up while still maintaining a level theme, where each platform and challenge felt like it was in place with the aesthetic. What's the aesthetic of this level though? I have no idea. The background looks nice, I'll give it that. Also, the boss isn't half bad. I appreciate each boss battle trying something new in this game. I don't think that they were the most fun this series had to offer, but you can tell they were trying to come up with new concepts for each one. To me, this level almost feels like a prototype for what would become like the casino levels in the later games. But those had an aesthetic, those had a consistent aesthetic, and they were less annoying to play than this stage. Why are you telling me all of this? Ah shit, Dr. Howard, did you push me in front of one of my dad's grieving friends while I was on my tangent?
Don't know what you're talking about, buddy.
Well, the damage is already done now. Where's my mother? Labyrinth Zone. Pretty infamous level, but I'll give it props for a couple of things. One, the shortcuts. The shortcuts in these levels are great. The shortcut in Act 1 can be very challenging to get to, as you have to time your jumps correctly, but the reward is significant. Act 3 also has a really good shortcut. And yeah, if you're going to make a tedious underwater level like this, I like that these shortcuts exist, in case I'm really not feeling it that time around. I can stomach Labyrinth Zone, but there are definitely playthroughs of this game where I chose to utilize my shortcuts, and just move on to a more fun level coming up. I do think that this level has a pretty good theme going for it though. Like visually, it's not a bad stage, and unlike Springyard Zone, every single challenge of this level feels very in place. It's such a good setting that the Sonic movie sequel used it as a major set piece, and I think it works really well there. I think the problem that most people have with Labyrinth Zone is just how dickish the stage is, because yeah, it is. There's so much shit being shot at you. You have to stop for air bubbles. That fucking boss battle is so goddamn difficult. Springyard Zone felt like a mess, while Labyrinth Zone just feels... it just feels mean. Why are you doing this to me, Sonic? I thought you were supposed to be my friend. It's definitely a stage where there's a better argument for the whole it kills momentum in a speed-based game, but I will say in its defense, you get good enough at the game, you can get kinda ballsy with it. You can say, fuck those air bubbles! You skip that shit and you see if you can get through quick enough to make it back up for air. You're still undeniably going slower in the water than you could be going on the surface, but I do think it's a game that's still offering you choices in how you want to play the stage. Again, just skipping it being one of the options. It's not a bad option, I'm grasping at straws to defend Labyrinth Zone. It is okay if you just don't want to play this one. You still have to play Act 2, but... So while I do think that the stage is a bigger pain in the ass than Springyard Zone, I do think it's definitely a better designed level than Springyard Zone. It has more of an identity, more of an idea. God, I went through Green Hill Zone and Marble Zone so fast, I was kind of expecting to wrap this conversation up much faster, but I guess I do have a fair amount of stuff to say about Sonic 1. Yes, dear, your father would have been very proud. I mean, he wouldn't have been. Well, yeah, Starlight Zone. Alright. Nice. This level has my favorite track in the game. It's just so nice and relaxing and whimsical. It feels like such a nice break after Labyrinth Zone. It's also designed really well for a game as old as it is. The platformer really does allow you to take Sonic to his full speed in a way that you haven't experienced since Green Hill Zone, and visually it does a lot more than you might notice at first. One, I think its color selection was very fitting for the stage. It's very pretty to look at, but also it seems like a very simple, starry background actually has multiple layers going on. I don't know how they pulled this off in 91, but there's a lot of dimensions to that sky, which really adds a lot of liveliness to the stage. Little details like that add something that I appreciate a lot. The boss battle here is also very creative. It's pretty easy, but it utilizes a seesaw that was used in the stages and allows you to attack Robotnik by either launching spike bombs back at him or launching yourself up at him. Both feel pretty satisfying. I think Green Hill Zone is a better stage overall. It just feels like the people making this game put most of their energy into that one, which makes sense with being everyone's first impression to the series and all, but this one is definitely second place. Scrap Brain Zone. I kinda hate Scrap Brain Zone, but I kind of appreciate it a little bit too. Not Act 3 where it turns back into Labyrinth Zone, fuck that level, use the shortcut. But the first two acts really do feel like they're taking what you learned and challenging you. Now you've basically made it to Robotnik's base and he's stopping at nothing to defeat you. This level is frustrating, but if you practice and get the hang of it, you can get through it at a pretty fast pace. In fact, slowing down too much will likely get you killed during many portions of the level. I think it's a hard level to like with how much shit it's thrown at you, but the mindset of the stage is one that I can kind of understand. With that being said, I think later Sonic games definitely figured out a more fun approach to this. The final boss, however, is kind of lame. The concept is underwhelming, but there's also some bad sprite detection, where the game will claim that you got hit by something even if you clearly did not, which can be very annoying. But in all fairness, the one I recorded this series on just recently and kind of noticed this with was Origins, so maybe Origins' fault? I don't think so though. I think it's pretty fair to say that this is probably in the original game too, but if you know something I don't know, please let me know. All in all, I'd say half of the game is really good and the other half ranges from decent but frustrating to bad. Still, it's a game I don't mind revisiting. It has its charm for being the start of this beloved series alone, and despite how overused Green Hill Zone is used in modern games, it did become that way for a reason. They really nailed their first Sonic level. I mean, it's pretty much perfect. And that's what I think of Sonic 1, Dad. You Mario-loving fucking normie.
There, don't you feel better now?
You know, I really do. Thanks, Dr. Howard. Maybe you are more of a frenemy than a person I genuinely hate. Certainly matches the Sonic and Robotnik energy better. He fucking celebrates Sonic's death on multiple occasions and then does a Twitter Q&A with him. What the fuck?
Maybe we should get out of here. Your family seems unhappy with you.
Yeah, let's go. Do you think I'm wasting my life, Dr. Howard?
Yeah, seriously? I would be very unhappy with your life if our roles were to be switched. But if you're having fun, then I'd say just keep at it. Keep playing and talking about Sonic games until your little heart is contempt.
You know, I was thinking of maybe throwing other Sega games or games that are in some way related to Sonic into the mix. Like maybe I'll check out Alex Kidd or Balan Wonderworld.
Oh my god, your life makes me so fucking depressed. Get out of my car.